Andrew Soren is an expert in positive psychology and a leadership advisor with BMO Financial Group. He was also a recent speaker at a Strategic Capability Network event in Toronto. Andrew sat down with Canadian HR Reporter TV to talk to us about why resilience is a key piece of the puzzle in your workplace. What are some of the biggest myths about resilience?
I think that there's a lot of myths that are out there about resilience. Some of them are that resilience is a solo act, that heroic soldier that's alone on the battlefield. I think that the reality and the research of resilience shows that, in actual fact, to be really good at resilience means muddling through the small things. It means being much more attached to our emotions, and not attached, but much more aware of our emotions, much more able to muddle through things and ultimately work collaboratively as teams really effectively to be able to see that resilience are the ways in which we grapple with the small things instead of necessarily the really big adversities that hit us all the time.
You said adversity doesn't necessarily have to be one big challenge. It can just be the small things that we deal with every day. Can you talk to us more about that?
That's right. Yeah, I think that resilience doesn't need to be the really big things. Resilience can be about the way that we deal with really small things every day, whether it's about the projects that we manage or the teams that we supervise or the way that we do strategy execution. We're constantly in organizations faced with challenges and barriers that get in our way. And resilience gives us the skills to be able to tackle the small things and make sure that they don't add up into something that's bigger that ultimately destroys our excitement and engagement at work and ultimately dampens our capacity to perform at a high performance way.
What are some key resilience factors?
There's been about 20 years of research on what the resilience factors are that allow people, ordinary people, whether they're individuals or employees or soldiers or children, to be more resilient. And there's really 6 of them that have been shown to, in terms of all of the research that's been done, allow people to really thrive from a resilience perspective. One of them is about emotional awareness, the way in which we can ride the wave of emotions. Another is about impulse control, the way that we can actually stop and try to regulate what's actually happening with us and make sure that we don't necessarily act on the first thing that comes to mind. Another is optimism, just the way that we look at the world or the way that we explain things to ourselves. I think another big resilience factor is our capacity to be flexible, accurate, and thorough in the way that we think. Another one would be empathy and social support, connection with other people. And the last really important resilience factor I'd talk about would be self-efficacy, or a belief that I can indeed do the things that are in the path in front of me.
What are some potential resilience outcomes at work?
There's been a lot of research about what happens when people have the psychological capital to be resilient in the workplace. And it's been shown to have great impact on people's behaviors and attitudes in the workplace. There's greater organizational commitment, but there's also just better behaviors and attitudes. People are more excited about coming to work. They're more ultimately willing to put in extra effort in discretionary performance. There's also very concrete performance outcomes that have been seen, both from self-evaluation, from manager assessment, as well as financial targets. Specifically in financial industry and sales, the research shows that when you are more resilient, you do perform better. And there's also been great ties between resilience and well-being. Those who are resilient ultimately feel better about coming to work. They have less stress. So there's a number of very positive measures on the behavioral level, on the performance level, and on a well-being level as well.